Hello guys, we're here with another speed duel deck profile for this time for the Twisted Nightmares format, and here's a deck for Tribal Synergy. So now that it got recent burn support, so now here's the deck. So first off, we have Tribal Synergy. So what this card does is that if you have a Harpy and a Amazoness in your hand, you show them to your opponent, you draw one card. If you have them both on the field, you draw two cards. So you can use both effects at the same turn, but each effect can only be done once per duel. Um, so yeah, we're using this skill because we like drawing. We like to draw into the burn cards. So in that sense, it's really good. It gives you card advantage. So yeah, that's why we're playing Tribal Synergy. All right. So for the monsters, we have three Swordswomen. They are the best monster of the deck because they help with your burn condition. Because if you would lose life points from a battle with this monster, your opponent will be the one losing the life points. So it helps in that sense. It doesn't care about Gravekeeper Oracles if the attack goes to 0. It doesn't care about Moth. Also, it can hit the Lava Golem and deal with a lot of burn damage. So it's really good. The other thing is that it has 16 defense, so you can set it and bluff one of your other cards in your deck that we're gonna go to shortly. And it has a decent defense stat, so yeah, it's really good. It's the best monster of the deck right now. So you're playing one trainee and one sage. We're playing 5 Amazonas because we want to trigger the skill as much as possible. So we need at least 5 targets. These two don't do much because they have a really low stat and you don't run any attack booster. You only run burn cards. So they have a decent effect, but they're not gonna help you much because they really need to battle and they have a low stat. So Sage, when it battles, it can destroy a back row. That's really good in this format, considering the Nightmare Wheels, the Somas, and then the Amazoness Training. Any monster it destroys by battle goes to the bottom of the deck. This can be really helpful against Relinquish, destroying the Gravekeeper Recruiter, Zombina, Hyper Hammerhead. So these are really good, but they don't help too much. So we only run one copy of each. So that's it for the Amazoness. So then we have the Harpy Lady 3. This is the best Harpy you can run in this deck because Harpy Lady 1 and 2, they really don't do much. However, Harpy Lady 3 lets you stall. And so it not only helps you draw with your skill, it helps stall your opponent's monster for 2 turns if they are attacked. So that's why we're playing 3 Harpy Lady 3s, and they're not really bad at all. They're really helpful. Next off, 2 Lava Golems. This card is just your boss monster. You get rid of 2 of your opponent's monster. You burn them for every turn for 1,000. You can also use them to crash with your Swordswoman. You can also crash with your Somas. So you can deal a lot of damage to your opponent with the Lava Golem. So that's why we are playing 2. We don't play 3 because your opponent can play around it, and also you need your normal summon a lot of your times. So just play 2. It's still really good in this deck. Next off, we have 1 Blast Sphere. Now the reason we're playing Blast Sphere, even though people tend to play around it, is because we have 2 other cards that you can set. So I don't think it's really wise for your opponent to to play around the Blast Sphere, because they could be attacking into the Harpy Lady or Swordswoman, and you only have one copy in your main deck. But it's a really good removal. It deals a lot of damage. It can be really deadly if your opponent falls for it. But yeah, only running one, because I don't want your opponent to predict them. So yeah. Next off, we have the spells. To Amazoness Village. They give you a small attack boost over your Amazoness, which is helpful sometimes. Not really that good, because you're playing burn anyways. But the effect that when an Amazoness gets destroyed, you can search for another, which means you can toolbox into your 3 Amazoness, or you can just search. You can just crash into Lava Golem, then search another Swordswoman, then crash again, and then go for game. So yeah, it's really good. But only running 2, because they are dead draws. Once you're playing one of them, the other one is mostly gonna be a dead draw. So only play 2. Next off, for the traps, you're playing 2 Dust Tornadoes. Now the reason we're playing Dust Tornado in a deck that burns is basically because your opponent will also play burn cards such as Wheels, Somas, and it also helps against the Parasite, so that they don't Parasite Cocoon into one of your monsters. So yeah, it's just generic. So yeah, 2 Dust Tornadoes. If they're not helpful in that game, you just side them out, so it's not really a problem. Next off, we have 3 Nightmare Wheels. They block your opponent from changing battle position or attacking. They also deal 500 damage, so they're really good in this deck. This is what will help you win your games. This is why I'm playing Tribal Synergy and Amazoness right now, because the burn cards are just really good. And next off, we have 3 Zomas. They're also burn cards. However, they can also serve as a body, which your Amazoness deck lacks, because it has 18 attack, which is higher than 15 attack, which is what your Amazoness have. So it's good in that sense, but mainly you want it because of the burn damage that it can deal against you. You can play Soma, you can crash into Moth, and you deal 35 life point. But you can also do Soma and crash into the Lava Golem and deal 3,000. Then you end your turn, and then he takes 1,000, and that's 4,000. That's game. So yeah, 3 Somas, 3 Wheels are really good. And lastly, we have 1 Windstorm. Now the reason we're playing 1 is because it doesn't do too much to the deck, but it's really good to have it, because your opponent's not gonna play around it, because you're only playing 1, and so it helps stall 1 turn. But it also helps change the battle position of your monsters. So for example, if they have a defense mode Lava Golem, you just hit with Soma, you do Windstorm, then you crash the Soma, and then you deal 3,000. So it's really good for offensive plays. So yeah, just 1 copy. Now off for the side deck. Now we're playing this skill for the side deck. Now the reason we're playing this skill is because sometimes the Tribal Synergy is just not enough. You prefer this skill to discard or destroy. Or if you play against another Twisted Personality deck, you just side this, and then you both have the same skill. So while you're gaining counters, he's gaining counters. But since your deck should be the more aggressive one, then you should have more advantage than he does. And yeah, also this is a burn deck, so you can easily just side Twisted Personality in any scenario that you want, because it can be used really frequently in this deck. So we have 2 gaps. Now gap is another body which the deck already lacks, but it's also good in that it prevents flip effects like Man-Eater Bug, Old Vindictive, Decoishi. Also, it changes the monsters to attack mode, which means that a Lava Golem or any other monster, you can crash with Soma, or you can crash with the Swordswoman, and then just play another from the deck with the Amazonas Village. So it allows those kind of aggressive plays. So that's what we're playing too. But mostly also because you can tribute if your opponent plays Lava Golem on you, or Floodgate Trap Hole, or Nightmare Wheels, or Mask of the Accursed, you can just tribute the monsters. And that's why we're playing 2 tribute monsters, and these 2 are gaps. Alright, so we have the second Blast Sphere. If you think Blast Sphere will be a really good against your opponent, then you just you can side in the second one. But yeah, no explanation needed. Alright, so next off we have 1 water elimination. Mostly because Gaia is a really strong deck against the tribal synergy. So I play water elimination for Gaia, also for the conflict warriors, if they even if they become more common. So yeah, 1 water elimination. You don't really care about losing your monsters, so you care more about having your opponent clear their field with 1 card. Yeah. Lastly, for the side deck, we have 1 Twister. Now, the reason we're playing Twister is because it gains a counter with the Twisted Personality. However, you can still play a 3rd Dust Tornado. It's up to you. But yeah, I'm playing Twister just to take advantage of the extra counter that it will gain. And yeah, that's all for the deck. However, I want to clarify, you could still play 2 half shots. That is up to you. I really don't like playing half shot because the problem with half shot is that it relies on a monster on the field, and I don't really like playing with those kinds of cards. So I decided not to run them. However, they're really good, especially they have a really good synergy in tribal synergy, because first of all, you can use them with Swordswoman, taking into consideration that your opponent has a Lava Golem, but you can also use them on the Harpy Lady 3. So they attack, you use half shot, it survives. Now the monster can't attack for 2 turns. So yeah, you can add them. However, I personally decided not to. But yeah, that's all for the video. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you next time.